wanted to make this YouTube video. So a couple things happened yesterday, a couple incidents happened that I can't discuss right now until those incidents are resolved. Nothing to worry about, mom and dad, but I need to resolve those incidents before I relay the information on why I wasn't able to work today and why I don't have any working content. But I figured I'd take today to kind of just tell you guys about my life up until this point. Today is March 17th, it's Monday, it's 2025. My life started back in February 23rd, 2004 in Louisville, Kentucky. So that's where I was born. I was born to my mom and dad. They're still together, never divorced. We're a Muslim family, so they're never going to get divorced. They love each other so much. But they raised 3 children. Me and my 2 older brothers were all about a year and a half apart. But right when I was born in 2004, 2005, we moved to Omaha, Nebraska. And that's where I spent all of my childhood. That's where I spent pre-K, elementary, junior high, high school, and college. Spent it all in Nebraska until I graduated college, and then I moved to Texas, where I am right now. But let's rewind a little bit, and I'll get there. So I was around 1 year old when we moved to Nebraska, and I'm kind of gonna fast forward until middle school because I don't want to relay any of my family situations and family things that happened in my childhood or happened in childhood. Nothing bad, nothing extreme, of course. That's why I'm perfect. Just kidding. But fast forwarding to middle school, so I was never really a nerd, or I was never really not popular. I was popular, but I didn't play any sports. So as you all probably know, in elementary school and before that, and a little bit of middle school, the way that you were to be popular was, you had to play sports, and I didn't play a lot of sports. I played YMCA basketball because it was cheap and I enjoyed the sport of basketball. I didn't think it necessary to play for a specific league that I would have to pay more money just to play the same sport. I always had that mindset up until middle school when I was hearing my friends say, you play for the YMCA, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I didn't know the YMCA was this kind of looked down upon league. It was a recreational league compared to these competitive leagues that my buddies were playing for, because although I was not a popular kid, I was friends with all the popular kids. So I was playing YMCA basketball, and then I moved to competitive basketball for Pete Force, where I won the MVP award. I don't have it with me. I think it's at my parents' house in Nebraska. But, I won the MVP award. I was doing really well. But, I still did not see the point in playing for a competitive league when I was literally playing the same sport. The competition was a little bit different. But, I'm not gonna have my parents spend lump sums of money just so I can play the same exact sport. It's not my fault competitors are worse in the YMCA league. So I went back to the YMCA, I was playing there, and then I just eventually stopped. But anyways, going back to middle school, was not popular, but was friends with all the popular kids. And since I was hanging out with these popular kids, that was when I truly started hanging out with girls. Like, I would hang out with my buddies, they would invite some girls, and then we would all hang out, right? And this is when I started, this is when the obsession for girls and attracting girls, middle school was when that really kicked in, okay? And that continued all the way up until my junior year of high school. It's when I was obsessed with girls and getting girls and wearing things that I thought would attract girls and saying things and acting in ways that I thought would attract girls. Started in middle school and kind of just, increased exponentially all the way up until junior year of high school when I finally found a girlfriend, a long-term girlfriend at least. But going back to high school, was not popular, didn't play a lot of sports. Graduated middle school, and during that summer, about to be a freshman, I developed a lot of acne. That's when I started going through puberty, and I started, growing. I'm not that tall. I'm 5'9". I tell people I'm 5'10", but anyways, I'm not that tall. I'm like average height, but I started growing, but I also started getting a lot of acne. So my freshman year in high school, face covered with acne everywhere. I even had these circles around my eyes where there were no acne, but then you could clearly see the line of where the acne started and kind of continued on my cheek, and on my chin, my forehead. Disgusting. You play connect the dots on my face and whatnot. A little pepperoni pizza, meatball, all that shit. So I developed acne freshman year, a little bit before freshman year, which kind of helped with the acne and, developing the anxiety and the stress that came with getting acne and having as much as I did, in which I later got on Accutane and it all went away. But that's not until sophomore year and junior year of high school. So I dealt with that all the way in my freshman year. But before my freshman year, something that kind of helped with this acne problem was I met this guy named Jake, and he's currently still my best friend. I really connected with him. I noticed that all my friends before I met Jake, they were friends. I liked them, I cared for them, I trusted them. Or I didn't trust them like fully, of course, like I trust Jake and Kyrie. You'll meet Kyrie later on. But, they were people that I could text and hang out with, So I dropped all of them when I met Jake, and I kind of just transferred over to Jake. I would only hang out with Jake. He was the only person that I wanted to hang out with. I kind of developed my manhood with my buddy Jake. So met him right before freshman year, became best friends, went through freshman year. My buddy Jake, no, but he's a good looking kid. So we would hang out with girls if not every day, it'd be at least once every week we would hang out with girls, different girls, same girls. We were addicted to girls. I can't say the same for him, but I know at that time, at that point in my life, I was addicted to girls. Like I said, I was dressing for girls, acting in ways that I thought would attract girls. And then at this time, I was working at McDonald's, right? So I was working at McDonald's till I was 14, till I was like 15. And then I started working at Walmart. But while I was at McDonald's, I met this guy named Kyrie, who is now also my best friend. And I trust him and all this stuff. And, me, Jake, and Kyrie, we have this friendship where, I don't have to talk to them for months, if not, even years. And when I do talk to them, it'll be like I just talked to them yesterday. Those are the type of friends that I have. Those two friends, right? Two best friends. Not including my brothers, of course. But yeah, so I was only hanging out with both of them all throughout that summer, about to be a freshman, and then all throughout high school, I was only hanging out with them. And I was really only hanging out with them until I moved to Texas earlier last year. At the end of last year, we all had super similar mindsets. Like we all wanted to make money. We all wanted to, be able to give something to our families, and we all wanted to make something of ourselves. So during my sophomore year of high school, and I was about to be a junior, my buddy Jake, he transferred over to the same high school that Kyrie was going to, that was in Elkhorn. That was in a different part of where I was. So he transferred over to that school. Now I was at the high school that I was at completely by myself. And I didn't have any friends. Or I had acquaintances, but I had nobody that I really trusted like I did with Jake and Kyrie. Now fast forward a little bit, no friends. I'm not hanging out with people like I was with Jake and Kyrie. No friends at my high school, no girlfriend at this time. I met this kid in my finance class. This kid in my finance class, his name is Connor. His dad's, his dad is wealthy. He was a very intuitive kid, and he would tell me about how much money and how much, how good the profit margins were with this illicit substance. He would tell me, but he'd be like, yeah, there's so much money you could make in this market, in this industry. So, that's when it really inspired me. And that was in my sophomore year of high school. So I started hearing this in my finance class every single day because he sits right next to me. And then eventually it kind of just clicked. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna start doing this because I wanna make money. I have no friends. I don't wanna work at McDonald's. I don't wanna work at Walmart. So I started selling this illicit thing. I'll let you guys assume it yourself. It's nothing too bad. Okay, I'm not some criminal. But I started selling this. I was making more money than I've ever seen in my whole life. I ended up talking to my buddy Jake, and I was like, hey man, I keep on, I don't like bouncing around to girls. I want one girl. I want one good girl. So I talked to my buddy Jake. He said, yeah, his girlfriend, which is his girlfriend that he has, he's currently still dating her. Her name's Natalie. I'm not gonna give a last name for privacy reasons, but they're in love. They're madly in love, right? It's like one of those fairy tale things. But I talked to my buddy Jake. He said that his girlfriend Natalie had a friend. So I was like, hey, I might as well secure this one and then just keep her forever, And that was kind of the mindset I had because I was making so much money at the time. I was like, okay, I need to start settling down. I don't know why I had that mindset. My father did not teach me that mindset. That was just something stupid that I kind of just did. So I met her, hung out with her, and I got addicted to her, okay? Which is something you do not want to do personally, which is something that I do not want to do at a young age. And honestly, if I were to give advice to someone, I would say, do not do this at a young age. Do not find a girlfriend at a young age. You don't want to find that happiness when you're young. You want to find that later on once you've built yourself. But that's besides the point, and it's not like, it's an opinion that I have, it's not a fact. But, so I met her, started hanging out with her. At the same time, I'm making a bunch of money selling. I'm buying her a bunch of shit. I'm really only using my money on her at the time, which at that time, it's really started making me think like, okay, having a girlfriend is an expense. That really started I started to kind of backtrack, which was kind of like in my senior year, started kind of backtrack from having a girlfriend. And I started getting these thoughts in my head like, should I be having a girlfriend right now? And those same thoughts were coupled with the thoughts of, my first love. I was in love with the chick. I trusted the chick. Amazing chick to this day, probably still amazing. But I was going through these thoughts like, I haven't made anything of myself. I don't even deserve to have a girlfriend right now. I do this illegal thing every day that I'm not proud of. Like why is my life so good right now? Is basically what I was asking myself. I eventually did get robbed, and I took that kind of as a sign from God to say, hey, stop doing this. You need to move on to something else. And my whole thing was, I don't want to work a wagey job. I want to be paid on the amount of work that I put in for it. So I went throughout high school doing that same stuff, having the girlfriend, making all this money, spending all that money on that girlfriend, and I wasn't spending all the money on her, but I was spending it on stupid shit, right? Something not even related to her. But after that, I went to college. I graduated high school. I went to college in Lincoln, so in the city of Lincoln, University of Nebraska at Lincoln. Went to college there for about a year and a half. Went very well, was getting good grades, it was super easy. School, college, piece of cake for me. And it was just easy, so I was gonna keep it as a plan B, because at this time, I'm still in my head, I'm like, I do not wanna work a wagey job. I don't wanna have a boss. I never wanna have a boss. So this whole time I do not have a job. I'm just holding on to the money that I made when I was selling the illicit stuff. And that's where I found sales. Sales is amazing. It's the best choice that I ever had. And it's when I started doing door-to-door sales is when I truly realized that, because the amount of money I made was completely determined on the amount of work that I put in and the amount of sales that I had, because it was an uncapped commission doing door-to-door sales. Fast forward back. So I'm in college at Lincoln. It's my sophomore year. I'm about to be a junior, and remember how I told you in high school, I'm in my senior year, I'm having these thoughts like, I don't deserve this girlfriend. I haven't made anything of myself. I'm not who I want to be. So I break up with that girlfriend, which was at that time, it really took a toll on me for quite a while. Even though I probably seemed like it didn't really affect me, and to this day I was probably like, I was holding a lot of stuff in as I was working, because right after that I immediately hopped on the grind and hopped on the hustle, because I didn't want to, after seeing what it kind of did to her, I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do that, then I actually need to make something of myself. So fast forward a little bit more, she's broke up with her. While I was still with her, I was working at T-Mobile as a manager in Lincoln. I was making really good money, not enough money that I was making when I was selling illicit things, but I was making very, very good money. And it was an honest job. It was a sales job. I enjoyed the job. I liked, telling people what to do. And, some of the people that I was managing, they were a lot older than me, so it kind of gave me this feeling of confidence. And that feeling of confidence turned into me thinking, I'm not meant to be here. I'm going to make something of myself, definitely in the future. There's no thought in my mind that says I'm not going to. So all this confidence and arrogance that I had in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm easily gonna get rich. Plus, at this time, this is when I started seeing those Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate brothers, getting rich, doing whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted. And I started communicating with my brother about, we could be just like these guys. So me and my oldest brother started a drop shipping company called All of the Above, right? It was e-commerce. We just had random ass products on there. We were making some money, but it wasn't enough money to we weren't making good enough profit margins. We weren't at a certain profitability that it would be good to keep for long term. So we closed that down. That probably didn't make sense, but maybe it did. We closed that down, and that's when I kind of moved over to working at T-Mobile and putting all my time into T-Mobile and college. So I was kind of balancing the two. 50% of my time here, 50% of my time there. I lost a lot of weight. I lost about 30, 40 pounds of muscle. I got very skinny because I was working, and I really wasn't caring about my health. I was caring about getting through college and keeping a job throughout college because I wanted to stay busy so I didn't go back to my, making money the degenerate way. So I do that. And then in February of 2023, the store that I'm working at gets shut down. It gets closed down. This was not because of me. I increased the store sales tenfold. I got promoted to manager within the first month of me working there, blah, blah, blah. I was doing really well for the store. I was increasing the store, but we still got closed down. So in my head, February 2023, I'm like, okay, I just put all my time, I stressed over this job. I was, 40, 50 hours a week at this job, sometimes more. Sometimes I would be there past close, just working. And I realized, I'm like, okay, I just wasted a good chunk of my life at this job, putting time into this job, trying to, progress in this job. And they just leave me behind, and I have no say in it because the store is getting closed. Even when I'm like, okay, can I transfer somewhere? They're like, yeah, you can transfer, but you have to transfer to Vietnam if you want to work at a T-Mobile. So at that point, I'm going through it in my head. I'm like, I broke up with a girl that I loved. I was at the job that I was putting so much of my time into. They don't even want me. Or it's not that they don't want me, but the store got closed down. And then at the same time, I have college that I'm dealing with. I have exams, finals, all that stuff. And I'm doing 17 credit hours. So, because at this time, well, as you guys can probably tell, my whole mind is like basically negative talk to myself. So I'm trying to work as much as possible, trying to graduate as quick as possible so I can actually start putting all of my time into a certain business, which is now window cleaning, which is going to be the first business that me and my brother start. But anyway, I'm doing that. Break up with my girlfriend, I lose my job. I end up transferring I end up transferring to UNO, which is the college in Omaha, and I moved back with my parents. I'm with them for about a year and a half, and then I finally graduate. That whole year and a half that I'm finishing my senior year of college and blah, 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 the whole time I'm talking with my brother about the business, the window cleaning business that I want to start when I move to Texas. This whole time I'm already planning out my future, the exact things and how exactly I want my life to go. I'm planning this out with my older brother, which was a huge help for me. Having my older brother was a huge help in my life. So if you don't have a brother or an older brother even, then I mean, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so the whole time I'm talking about this with my brother, this business plan, I'm sending him over the business model. I'm taking classes at my college about business, about entrepreneurship, about sales, about marketing, about all this different stuff. I'm making business plans during college. I'm making business models during college. I'm literally doing financial analyses. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm doing these financial analysis over the industry of window cleaning, residential and commercial. I'm doing all of this in college. I'm figuring everything out. And then that's when I meet Quinn. And, I obviously was doing that door-to-door sales job. I put even more of my time into that door-to-door sales job to truly master the art of it. And then, so that experience only was like 4 years. I know I'm not good at this sequence and chronological order. This is my first sit-down YouTube video. So bear with me. So I do door-to-door sales for about 4 years. I graduate college with my bachelor's degree in business management. Remember, my degree is only a backup plan just in case my true plans don't work out. Moved to Texas. Right when I moved to Texas, we get an LLC, and that's kind of where we're at right now. Right when I moved to Texas, we literally did everything that I had already planned years ago. So, and that's, like I said, that's where we are right now. Everything's looking very positive. And if this was me, if this was middle school me, if this was high school me, if I'm even if this was my college me, I know they would be proud of where I'm at right now. Because everything that's happened to me, everything that I've done is truly all because of myself and my family. So I'm proud of it. But I'm not too proud, and you never want to be proud of yourself until you've actually, I don't even know. But yeah, so that's kind of it. Obviously, my life is a lot more complicated. There's a lot more things, a lot more aspects, a lot more details in my life that I'm not going to share with you guys. But I mean, that was kind of like the outline, and that was kind of like the minor things in my life that made me into the man I am today. Once I truly make something of myself, I can actually be more open with you guys about how my life has actually been up until this point. But until then, you're gonna have to deal with this video. But yeah, tomorrow we're gonna be selling. We have some appointments scheduled to clean, and we have some contracts to hand out. And yeah, that's the plan for tomorrow. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.